In our previous update, we looked at the extensive work being done to give St. Michael's Cathedral a functioning basement level, highlighted by fully accessible washroom facilities, the first in the cathedral's history. The crypt presentation area is now complete. While the basement has been literally the foundation of this restoration, there are many other areas of concern in a 168-year-old building.
Some people might think looking at something like this is really intimidating, but the philosophy has always been, the old adage, how to eat an elephant, one bite at a time. So one of the things we are looking at here is complete envelope restoration. That's really important because a lot of people think it's all the stuff that's on the inside of the building, all the things that people can really see and potentially relate to, and they neglect the envelope. So you've got all these beautiful new finishes in the building, and then all of a sudden you've got a roof leak and you're wondering what's going on. So our mandate is to make sure that the envelope is looked after first, and in that regard we have a number of phases of work on the exterior of the building. That sector of work picks up essentially the south side and the north side of Sector 1 of the cathedral.
Repairing stone requires a specific product that can be worked like the original material.
What VIII's doing right now is actually repairing a crack that was existing on there, and could potentially, with time, if it's left alone and nobody has any attention to it or pays attention to it or repairs it, it will fall off. As long as the stone is saturated prior to prepping, the surface has been prepped properly, the depth is accurate, then you just go by stage until you eventually build it to a point where you can tool it. Try to maintain that same texture, same integrity as the stone itself too. This product is actually really great. Done properly, it can be very, very hard to damage.
But not all stonework can be repaired.
Originally these would have been stone, but we've replaced them with a cast bronze element because the stone versions weren't very durable and they didn't last too long. They started falling off. So we replaced it with bronze based on the original drawings.
While the scaffolding is up and while we repair finishes like paint on the wood windows, we want to make sure that the roofing conservator have a chance to review the conditions with us, and then we'll define what we think is a scope of work to do it now while the scaffold's here. And we've never been able to get up and look at the dormers that were installed after the cathedral was built to bring more daylight into the building. I think they were restored back in the 1990s when the slate roof was done, but there may be issues with water getting through the assemblies and impacting in a negative way the interiors. That's plexiglass.
Yeah?
Yeah. Derek, what we'll do is we'll write a scope of repair for the windows themselves, but it's going to include for all the replacement of the ceiling or putty. I think the metals are in fine shape. It's the wood, the ceilings, and the windows. Right?
We've replaced the glazing in the windows here with new laminated glazing with lead caming here. Also, we've replaced this trim here at the front, which has turned out really nicely. They look great. That was tricky work.
Every nook and cranny of this incredible building is being addressed.
We had a look at the existing ceilings in the cathedral, and we were finding that the old plaster lath was actually cracking and falling off the ceiling in some cases. So we hired a historical plaster conservator, and we used an epoxy-based system that we applied from above in the attic space. So we're actually above the ceilings and spraying this material on the back side of the plaster lath. And what that epoxy material did is it sort of leaches its way down through the plaster and consolidates it all and seals it all up. Consolidation of the existing plaster and lath work on the ceilings of the cathedral is now 100% complete.
not all surfaces are being saved. Ceilings that were added below the original roof line have outlived their usefulness.
Yeah, we have all the scaffolds built up so far on the altar location, this is sector 3 that we call it. So very much the scaffolds are going all the way to the arches, which is on both sides. We're gonna demo those two to the original ceiling. We're gonna do the south, and then we gonna head to do the north ceiling also.
We're doing the demo here. Take all the plaster out and even those joists, because they want it to be like even the same on the other side. You have to be more careful because they want it to preserve most of the wall. Yeah. They don't want it to be damaged. So don't damage those precious moldings.
But before the drop ceiling can be fully removed, decades of dust and debris have to be vacuumed out, minimizing the impact on air quality in this still active cathedral.
See those orange poly on the floor and everything, so there's no dust coming out. Right, and we use the negative air, so it sucks the dust, but it's filtered. The air coming out is clean.
So we're always working on at least 2 or 3 fronts at any one time. Basement, interior of the cathedral, and the exterior works.
You know what you could do, Megan? Yeah. Cut this tape, right? Whatever the sets that we have down here, retape the band here so we can renumber everything, okay? Right now, just pulling the wires for the cathedral lighting and some lighting inside here, the catwalk as well. You know, the fact that we're retrofitting a 160-year-old building, it presents challenges in itself because as well as the building is occupied, so as we're disconnecting stuff, we're trying to maintain the building and make sure that it's in working order for the public first and foremost, and as well as doing our new stuff. So it presents a few challenges for us, but we're handling it okay, so far so good.
While there may be some noticeable, unsightly construction in progress indications, there's certainly a positive feeling of an end to these means. Things are happening, jobs are being completed. And with this, a strong, magnificent house of worship is being reborn. Next time, we'll profile the details of restoring some of the ornate fixtures within the cathedral, and also what it takes to create a blank canvas for the painting of this incredible building.